Okay, Algebra 1 video number 1 for the review. Okay, so first we're going to work on this. How to solve an absolute value question. Now, when you see an absolute value, it has two possible options. This can equal 17, and this can also equal negative 17 because the absolute value of negative 17 is also going to be 17. So you're going to have two solutions. You're going to have the f plus 5 equals 17 and f plus 5 equals negative 17. You're going to subtract 5 on both sides. F equals 12, and here subtract 5 on both sides. F equals negative 22. So if you were to put any of these numbers in here, the solution would be 17. Now, another element of this section is to be able to write one of these with the two answers. These are the two answers, write one of these. So first you have to find the distance, the middle number between these two. So first you add and divide them by 2. So 11 plus 19, that's 30, divided by 2 is 15. So that would mean the middle is 15. So the middle number goes in the equation. So it's going to be x minus 15. Absolute value equals, now what it's going to equal is the distance between these two numbers. Okay, so the distance between those two numbers is 4. So 15 to 9, 19, and 15 to 11 is 4. So this equation right here will have two answers. One of them will be 11 and one of them will be 19 if you try it out. Okay, I wrote down a quick explanation of which one goes where. Now we're going to be doing percent of change. So the original was 66 and the new one is 30. Okay, so the formula goes percent of change. So the change, right? Change divided by the original, okay? Original equals percent over 100. Okay, so the change, 66 to 30, is a 36 change. So 36 is the change, right? And it's down, so let's say it's negative. And then the original was 66 equals 100, and this is the percent you're looking for. The percent of change is what's going to happen here. So if you cross multiply, because there's an equal sign between two fractions, you are going to get, let's slide it over here. You're going to get 66x equals negative 3600. And then you're going to divide, and whatever your answer is your solution here. I don't want to spend the whole video dividing that, so we're going to leave it at that. You can leave it in the comments, the answer to this question. Now let's go to the next one. Write an equation of a line that passes through 2, 1 with a slope of 3. So you know what the slope is? Y equals mx plus b. The slope goes here, so that's 3. Okay? The formula, you need to put two numbers in here, m and b. That's what I need, m and b, and I know the formula. It's y equals blank x plus b. So now we have to find b. Well, we know that if we put 2 in this equation, the answer should be 1. So that's what we'll put in for now. So 1 equals 3 times 2 plus b, okay? So we inserted the x they gave us and the y they gave us into the equation, and the only letter left is b, so all I have to do is solve for b. So this is 1 equals 6 plus b. Then I'm going to subtract 6 on this side, subtract 6 on this side. So now I'm left with negative 5 equals b. So now I know what b is. I know what m is because that's a slope, and I know what b is. So I have to write the equation now. Now y has to be y. M, they gave it to me, is the slope, which is 3. X has to be x. And then whatever b is goes in that final spot, which is negative 5. There's my answer. Okay? So that is the equation of the line that goes through 2, 1 and slope of 3. So this one down here, they gave me 2 points. And they said, find the answer. So first you have to do the slope. So remember, it's change in y and change in x. So how did a 1 turn into a 4 because those are y's. It went up 3, so I know that this is a positive 3. How did a 3 turn into a 2? It went down 1. So 3 divided by negative 1, I can divide that out perfectly, so it's going to become negative 3. So my slope is negative 3. And now that I have the slope, all I have to do is pick one of those and do the same thing I did over here. Here's the answer. Y equals negative 3x plus b. Well, I have an x and a y here, or I have an x and a y here. I'll use the 3, 1. So let's put 3 in this equation, and the 1 is the answer. So 1 equals negative 3 times 3 plus b. 1 equals negative 9 plus b. I'm going to add 9 on both sides. That's going to be 10 equals b. So now that I know what b equals, I can write the equation correctly. Y equals the slope, negative 3x, and the slope is, the y-intercept is 10, so plus 10. Final answer there. All right, so now we're going to be writing this in point-slope form, okay? So in point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So it's called point-slope form because you need a point and you need a slope. Okay? So what we're going to do is plug this in and solve it. So this is going to be, the slope is negative, so the slope is negative 2 over 3. So negative 2 over 3. X minus the x, which is 5, equals y minus the 1. That goes there. There it is. That's point-slope form with that slope and that point. What if I wanted to change this into standard form? Okay? If I wanted to change this into standard form, I'd have to first multiply this out and then leave the letter x and y on the other side, because this formula is ax plus by equals c. So the constant stays here. So I'm going to multiply this out, so it's going to be y minus 1 equals negative 2 over 3 x minus, or actually plus 10 over 3. All right, I'm going to multiply everything by 3 to get rid of the fraction. So it's going to be, so multiplying everything by 3 so I don't have fractions. So I'm left with 3y minus 3 equals negative 2x plus 10. Okay, that's much smoother. I'm going to move the x over here. I'm left with 2x plus 3y. I'm going to add the 3 to move it over here, equals 10 plus 3. So it's going to be 2x plus 3y equals 13. Okay, A is positive, B is a whole number, and C is a whole number. Easy. So that's standard form. Now I'm going to turn standard form into slope-intercept form. That means solve for y. When we're doing standard form, you're leaving the constant by itself. When you're solving for y-intercept, you're leaving the y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 2x. So I'm left with 3y equals negative 2x plus 13. Then I'm going to divide everything by 3, and that'll be my slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 13 divided by 3. That's going to leave me with 4 1/3. Final answer. All right, here we go. Now we're solving. Hopefully I didn't get too much off screen there for that question. Okay, so here you can see everything. So let's do 8t is less than 48. We're going to solve this. We're going to divide by 8 on both sides because 8 and t are multiplying. We're going to divide by 8. So divide by 8. Divide by 8. And that's going to leave us with t is less than 6. So t is less than 6. So let's pretend 6 is right here. Now this is going to be an open circle because it doesn't have the line underneath. And yeah, the arrow you're going to draw represents all of the answers for t. So t is always less than 6. So it's got to be in that direction because the numbers are less on the left. Now this one, this is a negative number. If you multiply or divide on both sides by a negative number, you change all the signs. So if I divide this by negative 7 and divide this by negative 7, not only is the t going to become positive now, this is going to change in the center, and this sign is going to become -3. So now it says t is greater than -3. So let's pretend you found -3 on the graph. It's going to be a filled in circle because of the line underneath, and t is greater than -3, so it's got to be in that direction. Here we go. Perfect. So here's another one. This has two solutions. You should know that already. So m plus 2, so it's going to be m plus 2 is less than 11, and m plus 2 is greater than -11. Okay? So we're going to minus 2 on both sides. So m is less than 11. No, let's subtract 2 on both sides. M is less than 9. Here I'm going to subtract by 2. M is greater than -13. Okay? So I know that -13 is less than m, and m is less than 9. There's your final answer. I've joined these together in some way, making sure that m is in the center. Now let's do this one. Now this is less than, so it's this and that. It has to meet both requirements. So the answers are only between these two. So this is an and statement. Okay, because it's less than. This one's greater, so it's going to be an or statement. So this is going to split into 3n plus 6 is greater than or equal to 12, and 3n plus 6 is less than or equal to -12. So we're going to subtract by 12. 3n is greater than or equal to 6. Divide by 3. N is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so that's one of them. Then this one, so this is good. Or we're going to subtract by 6 on both sides. 3n is less than or equal to -18. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. N is less than or equal to -6 is the other one. So this or that. So n can be any number greater than 2, and n can be anything less than -6. Any of those two requirements are met, and it's good. Okay? So it'll be -4,000, and it would totally meet this requirement. It can be 800, it would totally meet this requirement. What it cannot be, in reality, is anything that's greater than -6, but also less than 2. All right, let's show this one now. So here we're solving for the system of equations. We're going to be doing the elimination method. Now you can only eliminate if a number above and a number below are opposites of each other. Okay? So if I had this, I would be able to cancel, which is what I'm trying to create over here. Now I'm going to do it for the y. Okay, I'm going to multiply the bottom by -2. So the top is not going to change in any way. But the bottom is going to be changed because I'm going to multiply the whole thing by -2. So it's going to be -4x minus 6y plus 10, which is what I wanted. So now this is going to cancel. This 5 and -4 is just going to leave me with x equals -8 plus 10. That's 2. So x equals 2. So I know what x is. Now I can just plug it into the original problem, which is this one. And I'm going to plug it in, and I'm going to get 10 plus 6y equals -8. Subtract 10 on both sides. 6y equals -18. Divide by 6 on both sides. Y equals -3. All right? Okay, so this is a geometric sequence. Look how it's going up. Okay? It's going times 2, times 2, times 2, times 2. So it's repeating a multiplication over and over again, which makes it a geometric sequence. Arithmetic sequence is when you add the same thing over and over again. Plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. That's an arithmetic sequence. So one is exponential and one is a linear. Here we go. And we're back here. So factor and solve. Okay, I'm going to solve each one of these, and then I'm going to do that down here, and then we're going to be done. So for this one, there's no number in front, so we know that it's going to be x and x. Now we're looking for the two numbers that multiply to make 20, but when you add them together, they make a 9. Okay? Okay, so I know that both of them, the biggest one is going to be positive. Well, actually, both of them are going to be positive because they will both be the same sign. So it's going to be 4 and 5. Perfect. What are the zeros of this? Well, if this had to equal 0, then the zeros would be -4 equals x and -5 equals x. Because if I plug those numbers in, I'll get 0. So let's factor this one out. Again, there's no number in front, so we know that is x times x. Then we're looking at this and going, okay, what two numbers multiply to make 12, but when you add them, they make -8. Oh, let's see. It's -2 and -6. Okay? Now, we're going off to the next one. If I asked you when does this equal 0, the answer would be when x equals 2 and when x equals 6. Now let's factor this. What two numbers multiply to make 15, but when you subtract them, they make a 2? Interesting. X and x. The two numbers would have to be 3 and 5. So 3 and 5. And the largest number is a plus because it controls a sign. And if they're making a negative, this would have to be negative. Boom. Done. All right, let's factor this next one here. Let's factor these. So here, when there's a number in front, you have to multiply the front one times the last one. So that's 28. What two numbers multiply to make 28, but when they add, they make 29. So when they multiply, they make 28, but when they add, they make 29. That's going to be 28x plus x. Okay, so I split the 29x into 28 plus 1 because that's what would multiply to make 28 and would add to make 29. So plus 7x squared. Now I'm going to separate the front from the back. Okay, and I'm going to factor out what they have in common. Here they have a 7 and an x in common. They're both divisible by 7 and they're both divisible by x. So we're going to be doing 7x on the outside. That'll leave this with x, and then I'll leave that with 4. Here I can't take anything out, but I have to take something out. So I'm going to take out a plus 1. I'm going to divide it all by 1, which changes nothing. These two have the same number inside, so I've done it perfectly. So the answer is 7x plus 1, which I got from the outside information, multiplied by x plus 4. Okay, if I wanted the zeros for this, this would be -4, because if I put a -4 in there, it would equal. This one's not so obvious, but you still have to check when it equals 0. So -1, -1, 7x equals -1, x equals -1/7. There's your other 0. See how I just plugged it down, made it equal to 0, because that's what I'm looking for. When does it equal 0? And I'm done with that. So we'll do this one now. So this one, 3 times the 20, that's 60. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 60, but when you add them, they make -17. So we're thinking I got it. So we're thinking -12x and -5x. Okay? -12x and -5x, when you multiply, they make 60, but when you put them together, they make -17. So here, we're going to pull out a 3 and an x. So we're going to pull out a 3x. This is going to equal x, and this is going to equal 4. So now here, I'm going to take out a -5, because if I just take out a 5, I know they're divisible by 5, but if I take out a 5, this will stay positive, and this will stay negative. Okay, and this has to look identical to the x minus 4. So I'm going to take out a -5, which leaves me with an x and a -4. This and this are the same, which means I am good. First, I'm going to write the numbers from the outside. So it's 3x minus 5 is one of them, and the other one is x minus 4. Okay, and if I told you this equals 0, it would be 4, and 3x minus 5, when does that equal 0? I'm going to add 5. 3x equals 5, and an x equals 5/3 would be your final result there. All right? Good luck, guys.